But he was the travel agent
he
for
was
the
in charge
Playboy Bunnies?
of all the Playboy Bunnies and all the people that traveled for Playboy around the world, and they travel all around the world. And he told me some stories that we can't repeat on the podcast, but
sure.
they were sure fun.
Hello, hosts and travelers. Welcome to the podcast Hosting Your Home. Each week, around the world, millions of guests stay in other people's homes using the Airbnb platform. Debbie Herder looks for stories that come from these connections. Listen in as we hear stories that teach us the human side of hosting your home.
I first met Steve at one of our meetup groups in, I believe it was February of 2016. So that wasn't very long ago. But Steve's enthusiasm and joy for everything Airbnb was boundless. It was really fun getting to know him, and every meeting he showed up at, he had more questions, and sometimes he would be just so excited about knowing everything that he could that I had to kind of rein him in and say, no, Steve, you can only talk for so long, and then we need to get back to topic. And it has been an absolute joy watching him develop and become a host for Airbnb. I think he was meant to be a host. He hosts with heart. So I'd like to introduce you to Steve Niebrand. So Steve Niebrand.
Yes.
Niebrand,
yeah.
of Hoffman Woods.
Yes.
Thank you. Lovely place.
Thank you.
2 acres, did you say?
2 acres.
And it looks way bigger than that. And it's basically all available to your guests.
Yes.
Except for this space where you live. And your house over here has how many bedrooms?
We sleep 10.
Okay.
Has 4 bedrooms, and then there's a one bed that's a sort of a Jack and Jill arrangement in between the 2 beds and the upstairs over there. But sleeps 10. Full kitchen, laundry facilities, fireplace, all the cable TV.
And what kind of house is it?
It was built in 1940.
Okay.
So it's 75 years old, 76 years old now, I guess. And it was the original farmhouse for this whole area, which was 8 acres. So
that's a farmhouse. It's interesting. I haven't actually... So Craftsman homes are easy for me to see, but
yes.
This is not
the
like
dormer
that.
was added later, which enabled them to put 3 bedrooms upstairs, and there's a bathroom upstairs, and that area was added, I understand, I guess, in the early 80s.
And we are in West Lynn, Oregon.
Lynn, yes. Out in wine country. It's called the East Willamette Valley Wine Country. There's a few wineries out here. Pete's Mountain Winery is just around the corner. We're actually on the west side of Pete's Mountain. And then there's another winery up here, Stafford Hills, that they just recently moved their operation down to Dundee. Because they bought acreage down there. So I don't know if someone else is going to operate it up here, but they have a couple of acres of Pinot Noir up here, and then we have a half an acre of Pinot Noir and some various other varieties as well. Would
you say you're about maybe 10 minutes into the country away from the traffic?
I'm 8 minutes to the little town of Willamette.
Okay.
If you've ever been down to Willamette,
cute.
it's a cute,
adorable.
lots of bars and restaurants down there. That's 8 minutes away.
Very historic.
Going this way. And you don't have to add with or without traffic because we don't have traffic out here. It's the poor people, when they arrive from the airport, they've been on 205 for the last hour if they arrive on a Friday afternoon. And then they get out here and they just have this big sigh.
Oh, it's very
relief.
Breathable. I mean,
yes.
you just look at it and oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So you have a fish pond up there.
I do. Full of koi. I guess that's what they are. It looks like that's what they are. That we just discovered them in May when I had some friends visiting from Seattle, and we were up there. I was giving them the tour, and they said, "You have fish?" And I go, "No, I don't think so." And then we looked out there, and there were fish all over the place.
Wow.
So now we feed them, as you witnessed earlier, and they're
and big
lots
frogs.
of them. Yeah. Lots of frogs and salamanders and raccoons and deer. Lots of deer through here. When I first moved here, there was a big buck right there, right at the top of the stairs going to the pond. And now they come back, and the antlers are much bigger. There's 3 or 4 bucks that come around here, and several
They're probably
does.
drinking water, do you think?
I'm guessing that they drink from the pond. They also graze up through there. You can see where they graze on the grasses, and they graze in the meadow up here.
Well, for farm country, and you're surrounded by woods, hence Hoffman Woods,
Yes.
and beautiful old oak trees, lovely landscaping, and you've been here for a year, is that
Been
right?
here 1 year.
Now, I
Yeah.
think you are the first person that I've talked to that has actually purchased a home specifically
Exactly.
for Airbnb.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Well, my daughter Emily was the one that got me involved in it, and then I met you.
Yes.
And the meetups,
And
and got
so-
excited about
And
it.
so let me just stop here for just a second for our guest. Emily Andrews was episode number 3, I believe. I am not positive about the number, but the title of her podcast was The Youngest Airbnb Guest.
Oh,
Okay, because of the baby
when
that was
she
in
had
there.
the twin,
the babies.
girls that were born to the surrogate.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
remember
Emily
that.
Andrews, and
Yes.
she is your daughter.
Yes,
And
yes.
she was she's the one that got you into the meetup group?
She's the one that got me into the meetup group. I actually came to town to help her get her Airbnb up and running in July of 2015. And she was like 5 days away from opening it, and being dad and the handyman, I helped her get things put together. And then she opened it up, and I saw how excited she was, and I said, "Oh, I have to do this," because I moved back to Oregon after being gone for 37 years.
Wow, where did you go?
Mostly Seattle, but lived in the Bay Area for a while, then back to Seattle, and but I'd always wanted to come back to Oregon, so I came back to Oregon, and then started looking. After Emily introduced me to Airbnb, I said, "Oh, I got to do this, and I need a place to live." So we started the search of, let's find a really cool Airbnb, and this used to be a wellness spa, so it had 2 houses, which was ideal.
Perfect, yes.
The grounds were beautiful, but needed some rehabbing, so got all that done.
And the vineyard, did they grow the grapes for the wellness spa too?
Well, I'm not sure. The vineyard is about 12 years old.
Okay.
And those people lived here for 10 years. So it was the people before them that planted it.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what their story was, but the people that did live here, they operated it as a wellness spa. And
So in the house they had like massage therapy
they had
and
massage therapy,
yoga and that kind of
and
stuff?
yoga, and they did massages. So the space that we're at here right now, this is one of the areas where they did the massage, and they're the ones that put in the labyrinth.
Oh, the labyrinth in the front yard.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I'll have to give you the backstory on that, so you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll need your Airbnb listing numbers.
Yeah.
Or you're also on VRBO, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you just said that Emily is no longer doing managing your reservations.
I'm doing it. It's
You're
just
doing
easier to know the people coming in and out. It allows me to vet them and get a background on why they're coming here and what we can do to make their stay better, or if they were planning on doing something that didn't really fit, then we wanted to make sure that they
Right.
were aware that we don't allow large parties.
Yeah, you have
and
your house
things
rules.
like that. So
there's two structures here. The big house will sleep, did you say 10?
the big house sleeps 10.
Okay.
And then we call this the studio, or Emily calls it the cabin in the woods.
The cabin in the woods.
And
okay.
it will sleep 6.
Okay.
And sometimes we combine where they can have both properties, but most of the time the studio where we're at now, I utilize for friends and family when they come and stay, because Emily comes and stays with me sometimes when she rents out her house.
Oh, that's so funny. You do that back and forth, don't you?
Yeah, and it works great, because that way I get to see my grandkids, too. I get to see Emily all the time, but I get to see my granddaughters, and they come out. And so we put a rope swing in for them, but all of our other guests, they thoroughly enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
And the farms across the street. So you told me earlier you cleared, after you purchased the property, you cleared a lot of the trees out so that you could open up the view.
I needed to open up the view. I like the big trees here, so I wanted to make it all about the big trees, because I call it Hoffman Woods. So it's all these big, beautiful oak trees, cleaned out a lot of the scrub oak and a lot of the scrub cedars and maples and all the other things that kind of came in and inhabited the place that just didn't enhance the place. Opened up the view, and also opened up circulation for the vineyard, because the vineyard was in pretty sad shape, but we pruned it back hard, and now I have a full crop of grapes out there, so it's going to be a good vintage.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty soon it's going to be Hoffman Woods wine, right?
Yes. It's going to be called Hoffman Woods The Gaze. And the
Gaze, G-A-Z-E?
G-A-Z-E, because I have raccoons around here.
Okay.
And I know you can't see a picture in a podcast, but I'll show you the picture of a group of raccoons, which is 3 typically, which is a litter, is called a gaze.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't either. I had to look it up. When a single one is called a kit, more than 1 or 2 they're called kittens. But when you have a group, it's called a gaze.
How interesting.
And I'll show you this picture.
So I can imagine what your label is going to look like.
Yes, because they climbed up in the tree and just gazed at me all afternoon.
Wow.
So I can understand why it's called a gaze, because they were very content to just sit there and watch what I was doing when I was working out in the front yard.
Wow.
So that's fun.
So you cleared the trees, you built a deck. How long did it take you to get ready to rent?
Well, we bought the place in September of 15 and opened for business in February of 16.
That is so fast.
Opened it up for reservations, and by the end of February, our summer was booked. So I learned that goes quickly. We're also booking right now for next June and August. I have reservations on the books for people that are planning for weddings that are close by. Oregon Golf Club's close by. A lot of weddings there. A lot of the last 5 groups have been here for weddings, and it's the family of the groom. So 5 in a row.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you said from Minnesota?
Minnesota, both cities. One was from St. Paul, and this group now is from Minneapolis. So I've got the Twin Cities covered. And prior to that, they were all from Ireland.
That's awesome.
Different parts of Ireland.
Yeah.
3 groups from Ireland.
Wow.
And in Canada, both coasts, Montreal and in Vancouver.
And they're all finding you through Airbnb or through
Airbnb and VRBO. Okay. We do about 60-40, 60% Airbnb, which I prefer their booking platform over VRBO. But I've also gone into VRBO and learned more about it and found that it's not that difficult to work your way through it.
Right.
But I love Airbnb. Airbnb, I love the people there. VRBO was just purchased by, I think Expedia bought them, and then they raised the fees, and it's like, we try to, have the guests not pay all these exorbitant fees, but they're getting a great place, and when you really look at it and you have a large group traveling, it really makes a lot of sense to to rent a house on a...
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, it's the only thing that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And there's no hotels out here either.
No,
So-
there are no hotels in West Lynn at all. The closest ones are in Wilsonville at the Motel 6 for, I think they're published $89 a night. And if a person stayed there at $89, if you got a group of people together, you come out here, it's a lot
4
nicer.
rooms and yeah.
So
what do you charge for your house?
the house goes during the summertime for $575
per night.
For a group of 10, so it's $57 a person, which, you have a full kitchen, full laundry facilities, and who wouldn't want to hang out with a waterfall and a pond and plenty of free parking? You park downtown
And
Portland, you're going to pay...
farms across the street.
Yeah.
So can the kids go over and pet the llamas? And
I'm going to set up a tour over there with the guy because he's going to operate it as a nursery, and he's still putting in infrastructure right now, but it's like an animal farm over there.
So if he had a little petting zoo sort of thing, that would be ideal for your guests.
The guests go over there all the time anyway, and they're on the street, and I see where he has had them come up the driveway. So he's a really nice guy, and he encourages the people that come over.
Wonderful.
So I'll have him give guided tours.
Yeah. And in Clackamas County, there are no permitting restrictions.
None that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I don't think that there are.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So
We practice good common sense here. We have fire extinguishers and smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, escape plans, emergency numbers. Make sure that we don't have any health or safety issues to be concerned with.
So if they did start instituting something, you wouldn't have any problem with
They
your
could
permitting
use my house to
process.
set the standard.
Yeah, that's
because
wonderful.
it would be. I feel very comfortable that everything is, all bases are covered.
Great. That's got to feel good.
It does. It does. And it's like, I'd love to have people come out here and enjoy and not have to worry about anything. And to have them sit around the waterfall and hear them laughing and the kids running around playing. It brings
Gives
me
you
joy.
great pleasure, doesn't it?
It
Yeah.
does, absolutely.
It does me too. I really love
That's
that.
one of the reasons I do this is to, share it with the people, and I know they're having a great time. And
Now, as far as the maintenance and upkeep goes, you're doing the reservation, but you live here.
I have a
reservations,
full-time staff of one.
You? Is that right?
I do all the landscaping, I do all the maintenance, and it's a full-time job.
Yes.
And it only takes me 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to make sure everything's done. But there's also a golf course across the street that I play on a regular basis, and so it's not all work.
So you've got some time to
Oh,
do some
yeah.
other things. And the cleaning, how do you do that?
We have cleaning crews that, for the most part, show up when they're supposed to, but sometimes they don't. And it's usually they don't show up when you have a quick turnover where your guests just checked out. It's now 11 o'clock. Your next guests are checking in at 4 o'clock, and they call and they go, "Can we get an early check-in?" So
Oops.
we try to accommodate everyone, but sometimes it just takes 4 to 5 hours to clean the house.
Right.
Most guests leave it immaculate. Matter of fact, I have to check the beds. Did you sleep in it? Because they make them, and I go, please don't make the beds.
yes.
It's easier if you just leave them messy.
Because that's the part that always has to be done. The laundry always has to be done.
Yes,
And that is a
we
big deal.
have double sets of everything.
Excellent.
Double sets of towels, double sets of sheets. So, you can get everything switched over, and I have laundry facilities on the site. I try to get all the laundry done. I have the cleaning crew do the laundry, and usually by the time they walk out the door, the last load's in the dryer, and it all gets put back and on to the next group.
And then you pass the cleaning fees on direct to the
Yes,
cleaners.
yes. We charge $125 for cleaning the house.
Reasonable with how many beds?
10.
10 beds?
10 beds.
You have
Or
10?
not 10.
Wait.
We sleep 10. We have 5 beds.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Well, even still, 5
Yeah,
is
10 beds. It seems like 10 beds sometimes because when I have to go in and do it, it's like, oh my gosh, 10 beds? No, there's 5 beds, all queen size beds. We standardize one size. And then have different colored sheets for the 2 different places.
Okay.
Because we use gray in the studio and then white or off-white, cream colored in the main house.
No bunk beds in there?
No bunk beds. Okay. No.
I imagine your cleaning people are very thankful about that.
Yes, I wouldn't want to do bunk beds.
I hate bunk beds.
Yeah, bunk beds are, and then I've also learned that you want to make sure the bed is situated properly in the room so you can access it on both sides to change it.
Right.
And then I've also learned few things about different sheets where some of them, I don't think you can ever get the wrinkles out of them, and then other ones, they look beautiful and they're soft. And so I don't know which is which, but I'm going to make sure I buy when I replace.
And if you go to Target and you buy...
That's where we buy everything.
Yeah? Well,
you must have told Emily that.
Well, it was in one of our podcasts, and the ladies, I hadn't heard about it before either, but I think it was Kathy Peterman who was saying that the sheets at Target, a certain brand, have the label on the inside that say side and bottom, so that you put the sheet on the right way every time.
Then I'm changing the ones that are from Target because there is that label, and that's how I get it oriented on the bed correctly by looking for that label, and then boom, it goes fairly quickly. Yeah. And then we have all the decorative pillows and stuff, and everybody gets 4 pillows per bed, and we bought the best mattresses that we could get.
Very
so
good.
Everyone likes the mattresses, and they always talk about the towels, how fluffy they are. And I've learned how to properly fold a towel to make it look fluffier.
I'm so impressed, Steve.
One of the house cleaners.
That's great.
And I go, so now I fold them all that way, and I love it. So, and then we keep the bathrooms well stocked with toilet paper. It's amazing.
Oh, you don't keep just 2 rolls for each bathroom?
No.
How do you do it? I mean, toilet paper is a big deal for some reason in this
toilet
business.
paper. Well, I had a yoga group, a ladies' yoga group here, and I never counted before, but I remember putting out 36 rolls of toilet paper because of the way they were packaged, and there was 1 roll left after they left.
Holy moly.
So it was like, wow. I learned to keep the toilet paper well stocked because you don't want to run out. And then I have a pantry in the house that I have extra paper towels and toilet paper and shampoos and things. We buy everything in bulk now. And I
Costco, or do you...
Costco.
Okay.
I'm going to start utilizing my Prime membership at Amazon, though, because then I get everything delivered here. And it just makes it easier.
Yes.
So I'm using Amazon more and more, and their prices are as good, if not better, than Costco.
Some of them, that's true,
yeah. So I utilize that. And then we use the bulk shampoo and conditioner and body wash, and I have the dispensers in each shower, and then we just refill those.
Yeah, that's pretty
and
much what we do.
that works great.
Yeah. So I remember how excited you were.
Oh my God.
We coming to
And I
those
still am.
meetings. It was so much fun. I was like, oh, Steve, wait.
You made me throttle my energy because I was always asking 10,000 questions. Well, what about this and this and this and this and this? Now I've gotten into it and I've learned a lot about it. And
yeah, so it's not
I don't ask so
quite a
many
year.
questions.
Not quite a year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
Superhost yet?
I'm not, because Emily was doing all the bookings.
Oh, that's right.
And
You're just
so
now doing.
now we've transitioned that over. So eventually I will become a Superhost. That's
I'm sure you
That's
will.
my goal.
I'm sure you
The
will.
people that I have introduced to Airbnb who are now hosting, I noticed they've become Superhosts.
Wonderful.
So Emily and I were adding it up this morning, and we've introduced 17 people to Airbnb, and they're now all hosting. And those are the ones that we know, because there's other ones that we talk to, and through the grapevine later on we find out that they're hosting. So
and you went into Airbnb headquarters today to visit with Taylor.
Yes.
How was that?
It was fabulous.
Yeah.
We had lunch with them
good.
in there and ran into Dave Matthews and met some of the other people. It's such a great group of people down there.
So as a host, are you feeling supported by Airbnb?
Totally.
Okay.
Totally.
I feel like we're so fortunate to have the headquarters here in Portland, so accessible
to us.
And,
we are.
And they do take a really deep interest in what we're doing.
Yes,
nice.
yes. I'm working on a project with them, with the Balos.
The Balos.
Yeah. So we were talking about that today, and the upcoming international conference down in Los Angeles is coming up in November. So we were trying to figure out a way to take some down there, and they're just very supportive of everything that you do.
Yeah. So you're going to be selling your Balos at the Open?
That's a plan. The problem is producing them. It's just...
Okay. It's not a problem with having it on this podcast? Is that okay?
No. Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. We hope to be selling them. We hope to establish a website. We're going to call them Air Balos.
Okay.
So that it's easily identifiable. And now that I know what they are, where it's the symbol of belonging, it's I don't know if you saw it when you drove in.
I did,
right
on the side of your house there. Or was it on the gate?
It's right at the front entrance there on the rock wall.
Okay.
But when people arrive, it's like my address, but you don't need an address. It speaks to them.
They know they're in the right place.
Because they know what it is.
Yeah.
And then on the studio, there's one by the door, so that one identifies that door, and then the main house, the one on the gate, is for the main house. So
Cool.
they know where to go.
That's wonderful. Can I shift gears here a little bit? You have had a couple of instances when things did not go good for you. And can we talk just a little bit? We don't need to go into a whole lot of detail, but a little bit about what happened and how you handled the situation and then what you've learned from them.
Well, one of the things that I've learned is when people book a space for 10 people, they also look at the space as, oh, what a great place to have a party. Now, I don't discourage them from having their family come and visit them, but some people have decided to deceive us by having a very large function and not mentioning it to us.
You're not talking about young kids having keggers or something like that?
No, I haven't had any parties like that because I would shut them down immediately. What happens is they decide to, if they're here attending a wedding, they decide to have the reception here.
Oh.
Or they decide to have the rehearsal dinner here and invite 40 to 50 people.
Oh.
Well, my parking area handles 8 cars, and when you have that many people, you typically have 20 to 30 cars. So everything gets overwhelmed. And the whole idea about they never bothered to tell me doesn't set well with me. I've since learned to ask the tough questions at booking. I've posted on the site now, this is not a venue space. If you intend to use it as a venue space, we need to talk about it, because there's a lot of things that I need to do to make sure that, we cover for additional people. If we need additional restrooms, there's only so many restrooms, so I could bring a porta potty in. If there's going to be additional cars for parking, then we'll make arrangements to park them. But it's also, it's additional fees for me. They generate a tremendous amount of garbage.
Yes.
And so I have to deal with that. And sometimes they don't monitor their guests and things get broken.
So this has happened more than once?
It's happened to me about 4 times now.
Wow.
And hopefully it's not going to happen that 5th time, because I've learned when the guests arrive, I just simply ask them, you're not planning on having a large party here, are you? And wait for the response. And if they were planning on having it, it then gets moved. But the ones that I did have the problem with, I was here, greeted them, and then I left, but then I came back and there was a large party going on. But I let the party go. I hope they have a good time. And then we talk about it on the other side, and there are additional fees. And so far, everyone has paid them. And so it becomes a non-issue. But now I want to make sure that they know up front, because I have a group coming up in a couple weeks, and we ask them, and they go, oh, yeah, we're planning to have a big party. So they've moved it to a local park now.
Good.
So it just prevents a lot of misunderstanding.
Yeah, and do you have that really clear in your house rules?
I do.
Okay.
Very clear, bigger font, all capitalized. When they first check in, that's one of the first questions I ask is, I typically know something about them on Airbnb. VRBO, I don't know as much about them. So we discuss it, and if they were having a big party and they need to change, gives them time to change. The ones that were going to deceive me anyway, they didn't say anything, and so...
They all know that you're on site and that you live here?
They didn't all know I was on site.
Okay.
They do know I'm on site, and for 99.9% of the people, they love it because I love interacting with the guests. I've partied with my guests, and but there was 0.1%. There was a group that came that no matter what we did, they didn't like it, and they complained that I was on site, and they wanted the privacy. Well, the privacy to do what?
Right.
And you get to answer the question on the VRBO site, would you recommend these people for other hosts? And I said no to these people. And it's the only group that I've ever said that to. And they were trouble. They left a tremendous amount of garbage. And there was a lot of drinking going on. And so I learned. You learn quick.
Do you see any difference between the VRBO guests and the Airbnb guests?
A little bit. The VRBO guests have a tendency to stay a little bit longer, but I don't think the VRBO guests are as informed, or they weren't as informed when they arrived, but it was primarily our fault by not putting the guidelines on the listing, which that has since been addressed.
Yes.
And I would recommend to anybody that's thinking of hosting, make sure you spell out the rules that you want them to adhere to about the large parties, and for the most part, they're going to respect that. It hasn't been an issue since I've clarified that, and we stayed on there. This is not a venue space. It's now in we have a manual in the house that here's your last chance. If you were planning on having a party and you haven't received permission from myself or Emily, we need to talk. And it is not allowed unless you have permission. And since I've done that, we haven't had any issues.
Very good.
So we learned our lesson there.
Well, it is a process, isn't it?
It is. It is. But I would say 99.9% of the people are wonderful, wonderful people. You hear some of the most amazing stories. We have international travelers from all over the world, and it gives you a chance to meet people from other parts of the world, and you don't even have to leave your house.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Yeah. And then you read the reviews, and there's another reason why we do it, is it brings so much joy to them, and they create these memories by having a memorable event with their family. We've had families where there was a family of 8 kids, and they hadn't been together in years, and they were just recently here. Or the family where the mom and her daughter met the sister that they hadn't seen in 56 years.
I believe that Emily told me about this. This was one of those reunions of dissociated families, right? They had never met.
They had never met. The backstory was the daughter was the husband, shortly after birth, basically kidnapped the daughter and moved across the country, and it took him years just to find her. Well, they got together, and I don't think it went as well as they had planned, because the people traveled from New Jersey to meet the daughter who lived here, that lived in a very rural town and was just a total different lifestyle. She had changed her name, and they really didn't have a lot in common. But the group from New Jersey cooked all this food for this big gathering, and the gathering really never happened.
Oh, no.
But I got to eat the best Italian food for a week with these people, and we partied every night. So we had a great time. They were wonderful people. So it's you get to meet people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
We had he was in charge of all the travel arrangements for all the Playboy bunnies, and
who?
This guy, he was their travel agent. He recently...
Is this of the Italian group?
No, this is another group.
Oh, okay.
He was recently here with his partner from Brazil, and they brought the family from Brazil for the graduation of his partner, who was graduating from some Oregon technical school with his doctorate degree, and it was just amazing, just an amazing group of people. That they speak Portuguese in Brazil. I don't speak Portuguese, but we communicated. So, and drinking some liqueur from Brazil that they brought, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's rather strong. So, we still communicated.
and the whatever it was, ouzo or whatever it was, helped you communicate.
Yes. Yeah.
But he was the travel agent
he
for
was
the
in charge
Playboy bunnies
of all the Playboy bunnies and all the people that traveled for Playboy around the world, and they travel all around the world. And he told me some stories that we can't repeat on the podcast, but
sure.
They were sure fun.
Oh, that's so funny. Great.
Just the wonderful people that you meet. I'm sure you've met them as well. It's like, wow. People that travel, I think, have more fun.
It's an amazing industry.
Yeah.
And, we are not traveling, but we share in the fruits of other people's travels, I think.
Well, I basically live here in the summertime, and then I travel in the wintertime because Oregon gets a little too dark and wet for me. So I stay at other Airbnbs when I travel, and I'm going to go to, this winter, I'm going to go to Costa Rica and stay at Airbnb down there.
Cool.
I hear a lot of good things about Costa Rica.
Oh, yeah. So, Costa Rica is wonderful.
Yeah. So that's going to be my next experience.
Is there anything that you would like our listeners to know that we haven't covered?
Oh, just to hook up with people like you, to understand and learn about Airbnb and VRBO, but the whole sharing process. So many people think that, oh my gosh, you're opening your house to strangers, and it's just not that. I say it's, and I've heard other Airbnb hosts say this, it's just meeting friends you haven't met yet. Because you develop these relationships and friendships. And we went to the international conference in Paris and met wonderful people there. And I'm hoping to travel to Budapest, where we met some wonderful people. And we're hooked up on Facebook with them. So we just made all friends. Matter of fact, I have to get hooked up on Facebook with you because I understand you keep a lot of people informed about what's going on.
Oh, absolutely. You need to be a part of that group.
Yeah.
We've got 257 members in that group.
So I want to hook up with that because of just the economic impact of our industry. And, we're not here to disrupt the hotels.
Right.
The hotels are full all the time anyway.
Right.
And we contribute to the economy. We contribute. I hire people to come and help with the landscaping, and the people that come and clean the houses. And we are supporting an industry. And I haven't read your article, your latest one, about the economic impact, but I understand, we're pumping a lot of money into the economy, so it helps everyone. I don't know of anybody it hurts. It's not hurting the hotels. They're doing just fine.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
From where I sit, Steve is the perfect host. He asks those tough questions. He checks in with his guests. He's generous with his supplies. My goodness, 36 rolls of toilet paper. He's always good-humored and interested in the people he meets. He offers quality and compassion and interest and even friendship to his guests. He really cares about people. And in my mind, that is really what's important about being a good host. You need to care about the people who come to stay with you. This is a hospitality business, and we are all there to help to make that person who's staying in our home help their experience the best that it can be. So we end every podcast by recommending our website and things like that, and I always feel a little funny about doing that, but if this is your first time listening to Hosting Your Home, please do go to our website and subscribe for the newsletter. It's not really a newsletter, but Rob sends out a little notice when each episode airs. You can also find us on iTunes and on Google Play and on Stitcher. Download our podcast, subscribe, it'll automatically be on your smartphone. Thank you so much for listening. As always, it's a real pleasure to do this. Take care. Bye-bye.